Our first speaker has arrived. Reid Walley is going to present his speech this evening, which is called The Power of Music. The length of his speech is going to be between 5 to 7 minutes. And let's give a warm welcome to Reid Walley.
What is your song? What is that one song that when you hear it, absolutely transports you back in time? To your first love, your high school sweetheart, your prom, that time in college, that amazing time with your friends in the summertime in the Bahamas. What is that one song that always triggers that vivid memory for you? This evening, we're going to be looking at music and how it translates into your nostalgia and how it translates into your brain and how music translates into healing and even dying. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests. The power of music. We're going to start with music and nostalgia. 14 years old. This is when psychologists say that music has the strongest impact on our lives at age 14. That's Romeo and Juliet. And we develop our lifelong preferences for most of our music during our teenage years. Now that we know where nostalgia starts, let's take a look at where nostalgia ends. 1986. And the founders of Hot August Nights decided they came up with an idea for a concert, a live concert. And this live concert was going to celebrate the origins of rock and roll music. And since this was their first event in 1986, they only had 3 headliners. The Righteous Brothers, Wolfman Jack, and Jan and Dean. And 10,000 people who were teenagers way back in the 50s and 60s filled up the entire parking lot of the convention center in Reno, Nevada. And they had a blast! They were all taken back to their high school days, and it all felt like they were listening to the same music they did back in the 50s and 60s, and the memories washed over them. And 23 years later, in 2009, Hot August Nights was voted America's #1 outdoor event. Because in 2009, a whopping 800,000 people showed up this time. And those people, within a 7-day period, pumped $350 million into the local economy. That's the power of nostalgia. That's the power of music. Music and the brain. The brain. Psychologists tell us how vivid memories actually become our memories. Actually, how they become our triggers through emotions. Emotions become our vivid memories. And the higher the emotion, the higher the memory that gets stored in your brain, just like a filing cabinet. Bing. And the stronger the emotion that happens in your brain begins to take pictures of what's going on around you. In fact, if your emotions are high enough, the brain will take a recording of everything that's going on around you in your life, including the people and the places, and even the music that is going around in your life at that very time. So that 10 years down the road, when you hear that tune on the radio, triggers your emotions, which triggers your memories, which triggers the very event of the people and the time and the place way back in your past. Now that we know how the process works from the psychological point of view, let's take a look at the physiology. Where does this all live? Inside the brain. Peter Giannotto is an associate professor at the UC Davis Center for Mind and Brain. And his research indicates that both music and memories are integrated in the same part of the brain, the medial prefrontal cortex. And the medial prefrontal cortex is the same place where our memories of our past are both stored and retrieved. What a great location. Thirdly, the medial prefrontal cortex is the area that acts as a link for our music, our memories, and our emotions. Bing! This is exactly how a song that comes on the radio triggers your emotions and turns into a vivid memory. Music and healing. Patients who are recovering from bypass heart surgery typically go through and experience very erratic changes in their blood pressure. We typically give drugs for this. Researchers have discovered that if soft music is playing in the background in the intensive care unit where they're being held, the amount of the dosage they need for their blood pressure is lowered. And likewise, some hospitals play soft background music in the intensive care units where they house premature babies. And research shows that those babies actually gain weight more quickly with background music in the intensive care unit. So now let's look at music and dying. We all visited my aunt 12 hours before she died late last year. And she was very agitated and moving her arms and legs around and trying to get the sheets off of her bed. It was obvious she was hot. She was coughing up phlegm and trying to breathe, having difficulty. And about half an hour through our stay, my brother reached over and turned on the cassette player. Classical cello music. And my mother leaned in closely to my aunt, and she started singing the lyrics to the melodies right next to her ear so she could hear. And after about song number 4, I noticed Aunt Dorothy was completely calm. Her arms were down by her side. She was no longer agitated and moving around, and her breathing was actually normal. The power of music. To conclude, to wrap up, to put a bow on it, it is amazing how music, how one song actually can trigger vivid memories. And we know that from research, psychologists say that the strongest impact that we have in our lives is when we're 14 years old. The stronger the emotion, the stronger the memory. And music connects us to a larger community. A much, much larger community if we look at the Hot August Nights event as an example. And music and memory are integrated in the medial prefrontal cortex of the brain. And music helps to heal those who are recovering from bypass surgery, as well as premature babies, so they can gain weight more quickly. Music not only triggers our memories, music is integral in the hopes and dreams of our future. The power of music. Madam Toastmaster.
Thanks so much, Reid, for bringing us closer to the power of music. What a great first speech to kick off the evening. And I'm really excited now for our second